if you're a salesperson or you're an MSP, the owner of an MSP that is doing the sales function in your business, I know one of the things that frustrates you is the "we're fine" objection and trying to get past a gatekeeper who is holding the keys to the kingdom, if you will, in order for you to talk to that CEO, CFO, or IT lead that you're trying to get through to. So how do you overcome this in a way that is easy, relatively effortless, but definitely professional? In this video, I'm going to give you the truth about how do you deal with the "we're fine" objection, and also how do you not only get past the gatekeeper, but use the gatekeeper to your advantage. Hey, Robin Robbins here, founder of TMT, where we specialize in working with small and mid-size IT services companies, whether you're an MSP, MSSP, VAR. We help you put strategic sales and marketing systems in place so you not only get more customers, but better quality, higher paying, more appreciative customers, because that's what you really, really want, not just more, but the right ones. And in order to do that, one of the things that you have to learn how to do is implement a sales function in your business. And the minute that you do that, whether you're hiring an SDR, a sales development rep, appointment setter, telemarketer, or a sales rep, a hunter to go out and talk to people, or you yourself that are doing this, one of the challenges that you're sure to run into is getting blocked by the gatekeeper, the secretary, the person answering the phone. And this is a big frustration I hear from a lot of people as they start to do some sort of prospecting. They say, all we're getting is voicemail, or all we're getting is told by the gatekeeper to go away. So Robin, how do we handle this? So there's a couple ways to go about this, okay? And the first way to handle the gatekeeper, the best way actually is to get invited in. And what I mean by that is you use marketing, you use your strategic partnerships, you use your positioning, your pillar content online, your speaking engagements, your referral marketing, your JV partnerships. You use that, or even networking events, to get invited in by the CEO. So there is a poll coming in. So when you're calling, you're not just trying to show up like a sales rep, with something to sell, interrupting their day. I mean, because even you probably block out salespeople who call you out of the blue, which you shouldn't do that, right? It's bad karma. So now you're paying for all that bad karma. But you want to get invited in. And so the best way to do that is through marketing. Now, let's suppose that you've got marketing going, and I can tell you that marketing is always going to be super powered, and you're going to get 3 times to 10 times the results if you put an SDR or a salesperson on the follow-up with the marketing. So here's what I mean by that. So, you're sending out maybe direct mail, or maybe you're sending out an email about a blog post and someone's clicking on that link and coming to your website. Or let's say you have a webinar or a seminar or a trade show you go to, and maybe you're generating some leads. You still need a salesperson to call that prospect and say, hey, I saw you're at my website, or hey, we sent you a letter and we're following up on that letter. You still need outbound prospecting, an SDR, sales development rep, appointment setter, to make those phone calls, right? And so when they are calling, one of the reasons they get shut down by the gatekeeper is they sound like a nervous, scared, timid salesperson. So one of the things when they're calling is their tonality, the way they have to be relaxed. They can't come across as talking really fast because they got to get all their pitch in before, like that. You don't want to do that, right? Because you got to be relaxed, you got to be concise, you got to sound sharp, you got to sound like you're supposed to be calling, completely relaxed with a little bit of authority in your tone. So that would be number 1. Number 2, don't pitch the gatekeeper. One of the things that I see all the time why they're getting shut down is as soon as the person receptionist answering the phones picks up, they start saying, hey, Mary, we're an IT services company that is here in Nashville, and we work with and I'm looking to speak to the person who handles your click. All right. So stop pitching the gatekeeper. We see it all the time. You feel like you got to puke all over them about, what you do and why you're calling today, because you want to talk to the person. So one is like, make sure you know who you want to get to. Don't just call and say, can I speak to the person who handles IT for your company? Because that's like saying, hey, I'm a salesperson, shoot me down, right? Like you got a big flag on you. So you got to sound confident. You also got to know the name of the person that you're calling. and you don't pitch the gatekeeper. All right. Those are things right there, big mistakes that we see all the time. So what we would recommend is, for example, you might send in advance a package, a direct mail piece, something like that with an offer on it. And so when I'm calling, I am going to call and I'm going to identify myself. Hi, this is Robin Robbins. I'm CEO of TMT and I'm calling for Bob Jones, please. That's all I'm going to say. Right? You've identified who you are. You've identified the company. You might not even have to say that. You could just say, this is Robin Robbins. Usually I say the company with TMT, calling for Bob Jones, please. That's it, period, the end, right? Now, they might just put you through. They might just say, okay, hold on. And they put you through. Great. Now you're through the gatekeeper. They might say, Bob Jones is not in today. And then you could say, okay, do you know when he'll be back? Well, he'll be back today at 2:00. Great. I will call back then. But in the meantime, could you put me through to his voicemail? And I would still ask to be put through to his voicemail and leave a voicemail. I don't know why sales trainers for years have said, don't leave voicemails. Don't leave voicemails. That's crazy. A voicemail, if you leave it right, is a touch. It's a way of bubbling up your name to them. And especially on my cell phone, like if somebody calls my cell phone and I look at it and I go, I don't really know who this is, or maybe I don't want to talk to them, or I want to see, you use it as a filtering, you let it go to voicemail and you listen to the voicemail and you can decide whether or not you want to call them back. So I always want to leave a voicemail. So one is, they put you through. One, they could put you into their voicemail, and you're going to get a lot of that. That's just the reality of business today. Some places don't even answer their phones live, so you could just use dial by name directory and get to the person that you want. That's another way. Now, the dreaded question that trips up a lot of people is the gatekeeper. After you say, this is Robin Robbins calling from TMT, calling for Bob Jones, please. They might say, is he expecting your call? Right? And be truthful. Say, I don't think so, but I am following up on a package that I sent him. And I did say in the letter that was with it that I was going to call. So I don't have a scheduled appointment. Is he? And then I would ask a question, is he available right now? So, in other words, they might just say, is he expecting your call? Don't lie. Don't say that they are. But that's why I like mailing something in advance or having a reason to call. Like let's say you met him at a trade show event. So, do you have an appointment with Bob Jones? Or is he expecting your call? No, he's not. But I'm following up with him. We met last week at the chamber event, and I promised to follow up with him. So just calling. Is he available right now? Is there a better time to call back? So you can pose a question right back to that gatekeeper that now they're going to be helping you, right? Because if you say, look, I'm following up with him. If he's not available, please put me in his voicemail. But what would be a better way, to get on his calendar? Is that something you can help me with? You can even ask him to, schedule an appointment with the person, right? So that's a way to work with the gatekeeper. Now, the other way, if they say, what is this call about? All right. This is, again, where you don't want to get into a pitch, right? And this is why I like mailing something in advance, right? Because you can say to them, well, it's about a letter that I mailed him last Friday, should have received it on Tuesday, and I want to make sure that he got it and see what he'd like to do. You don't have to get into who you are, pitching your services, what the letter was about. What's the letter about? It's about our IT services. That's it. Now, they still might shut you down. I'm not gonna sit here and say I've got this magic phrase that every time you utter, every single gatekeeper will bow down to your greatness and send you through and help you. That's not reality, okay? But using these strategies are some of the ways that's going to make it a lot easier to get through the gatekeeper to the person you want, because the gatekeepers they're just trying to do their job. So you're inviting the weirdness more than they are being grumpy and persnickety, okay? I'll give you one last final tip on this. If you want to get through to a prospect, you're trying to get to the CEO, CFO, don't go to the main directory. Try to dial the sales department of that company, because salespeople, typically they'll answer the phone. Not all of them, because there's a lot of sales prevention out there, but a lot of times they're going to answer the phone, right? And when you're talking to a sales rep, you can say, look, we're an IT services company, and we're trying to get, see if there's any way we can get an audience with your CEO. Where you talk about your value proposition. Is that something you can help me with? Are you that person? Most salespeople will say, no, I'm not the person. You need to talk to the CEO. Well, can you put me through to him? Right. And a lot of salespeople don't have the same sort of viewpoint, let's say as a gatekeeper, right? They're in sales, so they usually will put you through. So another way to kind of skirt the gatekeeper, if you want, is to go through the sales department, because they're kindred spirits. Again, nothing's perfect. I'm not saying every time this is going to work, but these are some strategies that you can put in place to get past that gatekeeper. With my number one, getting invited in, because when you say he has asked me to give him a call, or she has asked me to call and get on their calendar or something like that, that is the gatekeeper is an idiot if they hang up on you and say, go away. I mean, you're saying, okay, well, but he told me to call, right? That's, they're not gonna block you in that unless they're really, really stupid. And yes, there are really, really stupid people out there, but not as many. So anyway, those are some strategies. If you want to know more strategies like this, how to get in front of higher paying, better quality, more appreciative clients, how to also, and then once you get there, see, we're telling you how to get through the gatekeeper. But you don't want to fall apart like a cheap suit the minute you get that CEO on the phone. And a lot of people do. So once they get past the gatekeeper, they don't know how to have that conversation. And they also don't know how to sell the sales process as a whole, of how you talk to a prospect to build the value, to wedge out the incumbent, because you got to do that in order to make a sale. When you're selling managed services or IT support services, they have somebody in there. You got to have a way, a talk track, a process for wedging out the incumbent, building the value, and getting that appointment. And if you don't know how to do that, even if you get past the gatekeeper, it's all for nothing. That's why you need to go to an upcoming event that we have. It's a 2-day event where we're focusing entirely on the sales function in your IT services business, in your MSP. And it is mspsalesroadshow.com. Again, mspsalesroadshow.com. It's a 2-day deep dive where we are focusing entirely on the sales function of your MSP. How do you build it? Where do you start? What does the process look like? How do you do sales in a way that positions you as a trusted advisor versus looking like a salesperson or looking like the Maytag repair guy? Because you don't want to do that either. You want to look as a trusted, authoritative, respected individual that has something of value to share, so you get invited in. And then once you get invited in, they actually will listen to what you have to say. There is a process to doing that. And that is all the things that we are going to be covering on this 2-day workshop. So the link to that is going to be somewhere around this video, depending on where you're seeing it, in the comments or in the description or whatever. Make sure you go to the site, check this out. We've got 3 upcoming dates across the country. We're only doing 3. Once we sell out seats, that's it. They are gone. All right. So we're not doing a virtual event. You've got to be there in person to get this information. Plus, on the website, I've got a free MSP sales checklist, a playbook checklist that shows you and outlines everything that you want to have in place, the tools, the people, the systems, the processes you want to have in place in order to have a very well-functioning sales process for your MSP. And this is a great starting point, because most MSPs have never been in sales. Based on my anecdotal polls, less than 10% of MSPs, people running MSPs, have ever carried a quota successfully, have ever really been in an outside hunter sales role, maybe sales support, but that's different, right? So if you are that person, you really need this checklist, because you got to know kind of what goes into this recipe for building a really good functioning sales department, and how to build that. So again, that is a free downloadable resource on mspsalesroadshow.com. Get over there, learn about the event, at least get the free information, but definitely check out this event. It is going to be a worthwhile investment, because as long as you're going to be in business, you're going to be in sales, whether you're selling referrals or even existing customers. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So click on the link, check us out, and I'll see you at the event.